My name's Natalia. So I was homeschooled growing up from first grade all the way through high school. When I was 13, my mom wanted to get me friends, and she wanted to create a group. So she created this Shakespeare class. And my dad, he works at a bank, and he's the product manager. And so what he told my mom was like, you need to make a product out of this class. And so she organized it. She created a product out of it. She made it into something you could give to somebody else and they could also recreate. Now, I went through this class for a couple years, and then, long story short, there was a company created around a whole bunch of classes that my mom and her friend made it, and it still exists today. It's really big in the West. If you live out in the West, lots of people take these classes. Here, you're shaking your head like you know.
Yeah, I've done.
Yeah, she's done the classes before. Yeah, so it's really big out there. It's not here because nobody's ever brought it here yet. So the class is, obviously, it's the Shakespeare class. And I wanted to kind of tell you a little about it and what it will entail and the kind of commitment that it's from the family, and just a general overview. So I plan on starting the first week of September. And I also plan on having classes on Friday. I'm pretty sure it's going to be in the morning. It's a 12-week course, so it will go, if we have a break week, we'll probably go the first week of December, and then there's a parents' fair in December that happens too. And then we'll start in the winter. We'll start the first week of January, it's just normal school schedule. The one thing and it's 12 weeks, the one thing that's really big that's different about this class is we do put on a Shakespeare production, because you can't do Shakespeare without experiencing Shakespeare. That's just something that there is it's meant to be performed, and if you do it without performing it, you're missing out on something. Okay, so tuition for this, I was just going to charge for the student book, which is $15, but then I realized I actually have to buy stuff, like I have to buy crayons and I have to buy other things for the class. So I'm making it super cheap. I'm not doing it for money for myself. I'm just doing it because I love the class and want to bring it here. And then anything that I don't spend for materials will go to the production in the spring. The philosophy that led to this class is Thomas Jefferson education. The reason why I bring that up is because the way this class is organized may be a little bit different than what you're used to. Just a really, really quick, so you can see where we're going. The Thomas Jefferson idea is that there's 3 different phases in life. There's the core phase, which is from 0 to 8, which is teaches you good, bad, true, false, right, wrong. Then there's a love of learning phase, which is 8 to 12, which is kind of, I kind of see it compared to like unschooling, that idea where it's kind of child-led. And then from 12 to 18 is scholar phase, and that's when kids get a mentor and they just dedicate and they just study their little eyes out. Okay, so this class right here is beginning to switch from love of learning to scholar phase, and we're going to start teaching them how to study and start teaching them how to write and start teaching them how to do these things that are hard to do, that they might not want to do, but they're also, looks like you guys are older, but some of the kids that are going to be in the class are kind of younger, and so it's kind of, the way that this class is organized is a choose-in class. We have 2 things that they have to commit to do. They have to commit to do the reading, and they have to commit to do the writing, which isn't that much actually. The amount that they have to do is not very much. But everything else, which is we're going to talk about later, is the 10 steps is choose in. So, and it's kind of peer pressure, and most of the time the kids do all the 10 steps. I say in a few cases I've had it where the kids haven't, but for the most part they will do this 10 steps to get their Shakespeare Conquest award, which we'll talk about a little bit too. The next thing I want to talk about is our classes are based around a coming versus achieving. So instead of achieving a 4.0 score and getting an A in this class, instead of achieving the ability to go to a prestigious university, but instead of achieving something, we're going to become something, where we're going to become an author, we're going to become a writer, we're going to become, in this class that's what we're going to become an actor in a sense, although we're going to talk a little bit more about that. This is an achievement based, it's becoming. We're going to reach into the child's soul and bring stuff out of them that wouldn't necessarily get in a class that's based on we're going to achieve this and we're going to do this. This particular class is open to people of all religions. You're not going to not talk about religion. It's not going to be like the focus, and we're definitely not going to be like this is not a religious class by any means. But religion is part of life, and Shakespeare definitely mentions that in his plays. So how I'm going to be addressing that particular aspect is we talk about God as an I personally believe in a God. I personally believe in Christ. I'm Christian. But not everyone does. And so I'll refer to it as your greater power or the greater power and I'll let the kids know I believe in God. To me, God is Christ, God is God, But for those of you who don't, maybe you believe in a greater power. And that's how we'll be addressing God in this situation. We're also going to be talking about a core book, which is a philosophy that comes in Thomas Jefferson Education. When we talk about core book, we're talking about the book that you go to find truth. So we will be wanting our students to visit their core book. Like I said, that's going to be not a huge part of the class. That'll just be, sometimes when we have a discussion that may come up a little bit, but I just wanted to make all the families aware that that's how it's going to happen in this class. So you're totally on the same page with me going into that. So then let's talk about the curriculum. It's obviously called the Shakespeare Conquest. These are the 10 steps. You can look over the things that they will expect to do. And this all happens in the first semester. The 10 steps. They read, see, or listen to 7 different Shakespeare plays. That's the minimum to get their award. Our goal is to have them do 18 plus. And many times they achieve that because what they do is they have to become a king or a queen in the class. They have to listen to, read, see that many Shakespeare plays. And they come away from the class loving Shakespeare because we're totally immersing them in the class. They do a Shakespeare vocabulary test, which they create. Okay, I missed 2 when I was going over the list. The first one that I missed was that they need to read the Shakespeare play that we have, which is going to be Hamlet this year, and discuss it in class. And the next one is they're going to need to participate in the Parents' Fair in December. You participate in your spring performance, which we'll talk about in a little bit. We have uncommon usage words, which is Shakespeare obviously has lots of words we don't use anymore. We're going to talk about iambic pentameter, and they have to be able to do iambic pentameter. They're going to be doing a presentation. This is one of the things they have to do this semester that's a little bit of work, is to do a good 10-15-minute presentation. They're going to memorize a soliloquy in the first semester, and they're going to write a summary of the play, which we study. The play we're going to be studying this year is Hamlet. We're going to have an in-depth discussion. Every week we have a colloquium, and we just read like a scene or 2 a week, which is the required part of the class, to read that little section of the play. And they can listen to it too. If they can't read the Shakespeare, you're welcome to get an audio for them to listen to. Okay, so then the second semester is an actors training course, and it's super fun. I know some people are intimidated by the actors training part because, they're like, oh, I'm not a theater person, I'm not into theater, that's not my thing. It is such an essential skill. The things that we teach do so much crossover. And the interesting thing is I read this book about, it's called The Charisma Myth, How to Be Charismatic. The interesting thing is a lot of the activities that they have you do in this book on how to be charismatic are activities we do in our actors training course. And I have seen so many transformations from kids who are shy and inwards and who were uncomfortable and couldn't get out of themselves and just blossom in this class, because we're giving them the tools that they need to get in front of people, and we're giving them the tools that they need to feel comfortable presenting and doing all those things all through the actors training course. I've never yet had a student come away from the actors training portion of class saying, oh, I hate acting or I hate performing. It's so transformative. They just love it. And if you were to ask the students which semester they liked better, hands down, actors training class. Not even a comparison between the two. Because we do a lot of fun activities, we do a lot of games, and we just get to bring who they are out of them. It's all about bringing themselves out. We're not putting something on them. And we talk actually about the different kinds of actors. Like there's some people who put a mask on to cover who they are, and there's some people who truly understand themselves so they can transform themselves. Books that you need to purchase if you decide to take this class are Hamlet's Cliff's Complete Version. It's about $12 online. I also recommend the Thomas Jefferson Education, not required, just recommended because of the philosophy that this class goes with. It might be helpful to know what that is going in. So now we're to the performance. To start off with the first 24 weeks of the class, I'm not going to require very much of the parents. You drop your kids off, come to the spring performance, make sure they do their presentation. Not very much that you're going to do. Come performance time. I cannot do it by myself. It is a huge community project to put on a performance. I will be assigning each family or each parent. I'm going to give it to the parents because the kids are going to be busy actually being in the play. Everybody's going to get a role to play. We have to make tickets. We have to sell tickets. Well, I'm going to make the kids sell the tickets. We have to find costumes. We have to find a place to perform. There's a huge list of things that we have to do, and everybody just gets one thing to do. I think we're going to have a big enough group that we're going to be able to do that. I will say that the performance consumes your life. When we're getting ready for the performance, at least your child's life, maybe not yours so much, but you have to know that it's going to be a huge commitment. So getting into this class, know that from mid-April to end of May, If your child has a lead in the play, we're talking 3 or 4 rehearsals every week. But I can also say it is 100% worth it. The things that your child will do, the way that they will be transformed, just the way that you will feel having built this with other moms, 100% worth it. Okay, and the last thing is, I'm not 100% about this. I am thinking about filming my classes because I sort of still work for that company that has the Shakespeare class. They need help having a better online presence, and I'm thinking if we created some kind of video tutorials with all the classes being filmed, that they would be able to get the class out there further. Because I know how much, not just this class, there's more classes this company has, not how much it transforms kids. I don't know of any class out there that does, it literally transforms them. I don't know of any other class that does that. So I want to get it out there more. I want more people to have this opportunity, and I have a feeling if I did that and filmed it, that would happen more. So I would need permission, and if you didn't want your kid to be in the film, I would just have them do their activity a little bit off to the side. But I would know that that child needs to be, and it wouldn't be mass distributed. It'd only be to the people who signed up to be Shakespeare teachers, so that wouldn't be like on the internet all over the place. It would just be off to the side. So that's the other thing that I wanted to talk about. Okay, so do I have any questions? I just did a whole bunch of talking.
If you have more than one child entering in, do you still need to pay the $30 each?
That's a good question. So I'd say add 10 if you have more than one. So $30 for the first, 10 for the second, if you have more than one.
What's the time frame of the class going to be?
Okay.
Hours?
Okay, so it's 2 hours long, the classes. If I had it on Friday mornings, I think I would go for 9:30, because that gives me time to get my kids all situated, and then a little bit of time before lunch. So we go 9:30 to 11:30, and I would try to follow, like, I'd probably give a break in, when I put the calendar together, put a break in the fall someplace and a break in the, and because of Kentucky, we have to have snow days. I'd probably schedule a week for a snow day in case that happened, because it probably will. I grew up in Utah, so snow days to me are like ridiculous. But I understand the infrastructure isn't there to clean up snows. But I'm like, really? There's an inch of snow. It's not a problem. But I get it. That's fine. Yes, and then the rehearsals will start. How the rehearsals work is we have 3 to 4 rehearsals a week, probably 4. Your kids don't have to be to all the rehearsals because we're rehearsing this particular scene. So if your kid is in that scene, they will come to the rehearsal. And I put out a a rehearsal schedule, so everybody knows when they have to be to what performances. They have to commit to being all the performances. And if I give that out and there's a huge conflict or something for that, the rehearsal will be in the morning. I'll have my summer break and my kids won't do school that month. I'll do school in the summer. I don't, because I need to see what students I have. Because if I have a lot of girls, which is probably going to be doing some cross-dressing, reverse from what Shakespeare did, because a Shakespeare class tends to have more girls than boys, which is just totally fine. If I have a lot of girls, I might choose something like Love Labor's Lost, or Midsummer Night's Dreams, we can have lots of fairies, or what's the other one? Comedy of Errors has some good girl parts in it. We won't be performing a tragedy. We don't, my philosophy is we study the tragedies, we perform the comedies. It's just much better for all the kids involved. And once I find out how many students I have and what kind of parts I can fill, I will be announcing it probably mid-semester in the fall. Okay. Oh yeah, I was talking about how the rehearsal schedule goes. So not everyone comes to every rehearsal, but then we have what we call Tech Week, and some people call it Hell Week. It's pretty intense. There's a lot of rehearsal that week. We rehearse every single day that's besides Sunday. I don't do Sunday things. Everybody has to be there the whole time. So that week, you have to be there that week. There's no excuses for that. We start introducing costumes and scenes and sets and everything like that in that week, and it's pretty intense. The rehearsal week is. But the camaraderie that is built is just amazing. I just love it so much. Your kids will be connected to other kids in ways that you never thought was even possible. It's just going to be an awesome experience for everybody involved. I plan to have it here in my basement. When you come, you guys can just come through this back door. That way I don't have to clean upstairs. And that's it.